Gamer AD from Gamehounds, here with Nick Nicola, Holly Gully, Stormtrooper Ray, and a glass of champagne. This is the final, well, it's not probably not the final show of the weekend, but it's the final. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, last show, clink clink, chin chin. We are enjoying coffee and champagne, not at the same time. Spaghetti and meatballs. We are just got finished with PAX, the last interview, the last day for 2003 PAX East. And we figured, since we were not able to get any developer interviews because there were no developers at Ubisoft for both Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed, we did not get a chance for Splinter Cell. But just ran out of time. They shut it down before we had a chance to get to it.
I saw a little Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
Saturday, I stopped in and saw like 5 minutes of Splinter Cell.
Okay.
It wasn't the closed one. It was it was in the main room. It was open.
Right.
So it wasn't the closed door one.
Right. The closed door one is where they release the information, but we did want to go a little bit over. Oh, I left all my notes down in the room. But we want to go over a little bit about what they said about Assassin's Creed first, and then we'll go over Watch Dogs, and then we'll kind of name our pick of the show and the PAX final wrap-up. And recap the show.
A lot of different.
Well, let's just do the other two first because we haven't talked about them yet.
So we'll bang out. Go ahead, Nick. You're the Assassin's Creed one.
Okay. So we saw a demo, not really a demo, more of like a pitch video of Black Flag.
Pitch video is a very good way to put it.
It's like they kind of talked about, they had some developers on talking about it, and then they showed kind of a mix of gameplay, more like a kind of trailer of gameplay, not like a long 10-minute continuous demo, but just like little snippets of, hey, look what you'll be able to do. Mm-hmm. And I really liked what you'll be able to do. Probably the most intriguing thing that they said is how they implied that you'll be able to sail around the Caribbean in your boat. And, any island you see, you'll be able to hop on, and there will be something on it. Maybe there'll be a plantation, maybe there'll be like a Mayan ruin to explore, but there will be something on that island.
You wonder how many islands they're going to have, because that's a pretty broad statement. To sail around and see an island, and is it going to be 1, 2, 6, 20?
Well, I don't think it's going to be random islands. They're going to be very specific islands, like Cartagena and...
Many they're going to be.
Yeah, and that's what struck me as being like very Skyrim-esque about it, and that's something Assassin's Creed has never done well. It's had a really great realized world, but not a whole lot to do in it other than like the occasional side quest and like side mission, but not necessarily a lot of exploration. Like when I walk around a city in Assassin's Creed, it's more as a tourist than as a gamer. So it's interesting seeing them add more gameplay elements to the exploration, and that could be really good. Like that's something Assassin's Creed needs, and it's good to see them approach that. I thought it was really funny that they made a big point of saying, that stealth is back. Like those words were actually on the bottom of the screen, and
they said we listened to our fans, we heard your voices, and stealth is back.
And it's hilarious because there were several specific stealth sequences in Assassin's Creed 3, but they were just so poorly done. Mm-hmm. And
it's like, which stealth is coming back? Assassin's Creed 2 or Assassin's Creed 3?
It feels like them saying, like, oh, yeah, we know you didn't like the stealth in Assassin's Creed 3, but don't worry, we got it right this time, so stealth is back.
Well, I don't know. There's a part of me that says it's a kind of bold to admit that, you probably should have done better. That was the number one thing that people complained about.
Well, I don't know if it's bold as much as it is throwing the other developers under the bus. Because, like, this game has been in development for 4 or 5 years now, which means that, like, Revelations 3 and 4 were all in development at the same time. And, like, on one hand, it's kind of cool because they saw the sailing in Assassin's Creed 3 and realized, like, hey, this is really cool, let's build the game around it. And that's kind of impressive. But on the other hand, it's like now they're saying, oh, hey, look at all the stuff people didn't like about 3. Let's throw them under the bus and say, yeah, don't worry, we fucking hated that game too. Look what we changed. Aren't we better?
Do you remember the name of the protagonist? Because I have it downstairs in my notes and I forgot to bring my notes up with me.
Blackbeard? No,
not Blackbeard.
But Blackbeard will be a character, which is neat.
Yeah.
It's Kenway. Because
Something Kenway.
Because I know Kenway is the name of one of the... You haven't played it, so I don't want to spoil too much. Kenway is the name of a major character in Assassin's Creed 3, and Connor is like the Kenway's son. Mm-hmm. So like there's this generational thing. So you're basically playing as Connor's grandfather. What is Kenway? It's not Edward Kenway. Maybe it's whatever. You're playing as Jim Kenway.
Bob.
Yeah.
Shecky Kenway.
Billy Bob Shecky Kenway.
And you have your own ship, and you are essentially a pirate that has been raised by assassins.
Yeah, that is also what struck me. Like, they kind of made this point of saying a pirate trained by assassins. And I don't... See, maybe I'm just too analytical. I'm reading into it too much. But there's something about that wording that made me think that even though this is called Assassin's Creed, even though this guy has a hidden blade, he's not currently a member of the Assassins, because they made a point of saying he's trained by the Assassins, but he's not a assassin. So that makes me think that...
Now, do you think that, what you're just saying there, do you think they're kind of getting away from some of the original Assassin's Creed, and this game is evolving into something a little different?
Kind of, because one of the things I loved about Assassin's Creed 3 is how they kind of made a point in the story of saying, hey, look, these assassins, their philosophy is not really good. Like, they have the best intentions, but they fuck things up just as much as everyone else. And that, the philosophical difference between the Templars and the Assassins has always been an interesting split in that. And I think at the end of Assassin's Creed 3, the game kind of came down firmly on the side of the Templars and said, yeah, you know what, these are the guys who are going to save the world, not the Assassins. So it's interesting that they might be taking that idea and fleshing it out more in this one by showing how the Kenway family came to betray the Assassins, because in the beginning you learn that, hey, this guy used to be an assassin, now he's a Templar. So maybe we'll begin to see that, and it'll be interesting to explore in a game called Assassin's Creed why the assassins are bad, and I'm really excited from that.
Another thing they also brought up is that, of course, we all know that ships are going to be involved. You are going to be running your own ship. You are going to be going into taverns, into brawls, to make sure that you recruit for your ship.
Recruiting people.
And it's going to be important, because that's going to determine the success or failure of your missions is the people that you are going to be recruiting.
Yeah, and I wonder how dynamic that is, because they made a point of saying, like, you got to keep your crew, you got to take care of them in battle and in storms. And I said, wonder if
and your ship as well.
Yeah, but specifically with the crew members, I wonder if that means they can die. And I think that would be cool, like to recruit crew members, like train them up, kind of like your assassins and the other things. And then, you get in a bad battle and one of your crewmates dies. Like, I think that would be really, really cool.
Well, I think that, especially in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood or 2, I forget which one, the one that was set in Florence, that that was the one where you actually had groups of assassins that you would send out on missions, although you weren't personally involved with them. But you would send them out on missions, and they could die if you sent them on a mission that was too much for them.
They could die, and what kind of annoyed me is that they can't die in 3. Mm-hmm. It's like they, the assassins that you recruit are much more character-driven, like they're actually voiced characters, named characters, so there's much more personality to them, but they don't die. And that kind of took away a lot of the tension, because I wasn't afraid for them.
Also, they made a point of talking about, with the ship battles, that they said seamlessly being able to board, that boarding is going to be very much a part of it, that you will determine how the ship is being boarded, whether it's going to be boarded from the air through ropes, swinging across, or if you were going to stealth on and sneak down the masts and the rigging, that boarding is going to be very much a big part of the dynamic of the ship battles.
Yeah, they said that, like, you could tell your men when to, like, throw out the ropes that hook into the other ship to pull it toward you. And if you've played the ship battles in Assassin's Creed 3, you know that, like, basically, you walk up to the steering wheel, hit A, and then you're controlling the ship. Like, there's no cut in the camera. It's, like, you're controlling the ship, you walk away, you're back controlling Kenway. And so the idea of incorporating that into boarding is really cool, because suddenly you're controlling the ship, you say, hook it in, it starts to hook in, bring it closer, you back off the wheel immediately, and then go to jump over and board the ship. Like, that, it's like, that is the kind of stuff that I wanted out of the ship battles in AC3. Like, this, it's funny, the things they're doing is the stuff that you play Assassin's Creed and you'll be like, oh man, wouldn't it be so cool if they did X? And they're doing X. It's almost like they anticipated all the reactions to the good stuff of 3 and were already working on fixing it for 4.
Right. Anything else that we missed for 3?
Apparently, you'll be swimming underwater.
Oh, yeah, they talked about the underwater. That part of the exploration is not just the islands and the areas around the islands. It's going to be undersea, where you are going to be investigating shipwrecks. And there were some pretty dynamic scenes of being attacked by sharks and underwater fight scenes with sharks.
Yeah, at one point, like, a shark came by and bit someone and, went swimming along with them.
That was gone. He was gone.
But another time, like, Ken was on the water and he, like, ducked under a shark and then stabbed up with his sword into the shark as it went above him and then, like, rode the shark. Almost like, like he's hanging onto the fin except it's a sword.
Like it was a never-ending story.
Yeah. And that could be cool, but that could also be really awful because underwater controls are kind of finicky.
Agreed. That was the first thing that I thought. That this could either go very, very right or very, very wrong.
That's really the story of Assassin's Creed.
I thought it was kind of cool when, like I said, I'm not a big Assassin's guy, and I know I was going to get the last one because it was set in Boston, but I didn't, and I heard that was kind of the worst out of 3 anyway, so I'm kind of glad I didn't. But this new one here, when all those cannonballs come shooting over, that was pretty cool. But now you're in a big battle, so I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it has a real cool style where it's like when the cannonballs come in really close, it slows down so you kind of see the cannonballs like whistling above you. Like this, they're really good at kind of emphasizing the punch of the ships.
Then shortly after that, well, actually immediately after that, we went over and saw also from Ubisoft, Watch Dogs. Wow, the more I hear about this, the more I see about it, the more interesting it gets.
Yeah, I like seeing the word interesting because it's like, okay, so I'm going to back up a second because I'm going to go on a kind of spiel. So, like, the really cool thing about Assassin's Creed was that it kind of justified next-generation consoles. It's like, hey, look at the open world we can do on PlayStation 2, with Grand Theft Auto, and it's like, oh yeah, this is neat. But then Assassin's Creed came and said, hey, look at what we can do with crowds. Like, because of the processing power, yeah, we can make better graphics, but, that doesn't really mean much. How do we take that processing power and incorporate it into gameplay? And so they said, we're going to make a whole bunch of people and put them on the screen and incorporate that into gameplay. And that's kind of how the Assassin's Creed style of gameplay came about. And that was really, really great. Like, that used the powers of the next generation consoles to make a better, more interesting game. Watch Dogs seems like it could do that if they hold true to what they're saying. Because what they're saying is basically having an open world city where, like, every system reacts to you dynamically. Like, there's a system that controls traffic, a system that controls lights, and if you hack into the lights, you'll cause a traffic jam, you'll cause a car crash, and then, like, every system will react to that, like the pedestrians, the traffic, like whatever fire departments and things like that, police will all react to that one disaster that you created.
And it makes sense because it's the premise is that in a near future city, I guess, it is cities are because of technological systems all being integrated. Cities become essentially smart cities, that all systems kind of talk to each other, kind of like a citywide Skynet, where everything talks to each other. So when you're on CT camera, that means you're being watched, which is connected to the police department, so it can do facial recognition to see if you're a wanted person. It's connected to bank accounts, so that they can look at you and say that this is how much you're worth, and this is what. And you have a protagonist who seems like he's a bit of a crackpot. He's a cyber hacker named Aiden. Was it Aiden Quinn? Aiden Pierce, that's right. Aiden Pierce. And he has decided to beat the system, buck the system.
Well, it's not just that. It's like something about... He talked about how he spends all his time watching his family without them knowing because he's this cool hacker.
Something happened in his past,
Yeah.
And that he's protecting his family. And so I guess we'll find out what that was. So he's almost like a
Like a reluctant
he's-
anti-hero
he's-
kind
yeah,
of guy.
yeah. I was gonna say he's kind of like I'm trying to think of the radio show, but people wouldn't know years ago. But I mean, like even nowadays, like the Green Hornet and stuff like that, where the police don't like them and they don't trust them, but they're on the side of good. But something has happened to make the law not trust them. Almost like The Shadow. If you ever listen to The Shadow, the police sometimes they trust them, sometimes they don't, and sometimes the Shadow's like, "Hey, I got information for you, Inspector," whatever, and they're like, "Yeah, whatever." So that's what this guy is. He's like, you can't figure out if he's out there to do good or if he's just watching out for himself, But obviously something happened in the past, so he's not really a trusted figure in society.
Yeah, he seemed kind of like Batman, or at least the Batman I know from like Dark Knight.
Vigilante.
Yeah, he's a vigilante. It's like the video they showed was kind of interesting because it was shown from like the police's perspective, and so they're following him, going like, he's hacking this. Oh no, what kind of craziness is this? This guy is awful. And then they kind of have this hint of like, hey, someone else is watching him. There's this other hacker group that's hacking the system. Who are they? And so it's like, maybe this is the guy getting the blame for everything, but he's also the one trying to clean up the real bad guy.
Yeah.
And apparently that whether you are the hero or the anti-hero is determined by your gameplay, meaning that you can make decisions as you encounter people across the city, whether you decide to be quote-unquote helpful, white hat, or decide not to be helpful and be black hat. And of course there's going to be a lot of gray area involved in that, but at the same time that because everything is integrated, one of the things that's also integrated is news information, news tickers. So say that you decide to do something bad. It's on camera. News immediately has it up on the tickers. The public knows about you. And if you're doing something good, then the public might be like, are you a Robin Hood or are you an evil villain? And it's going to change the dynamics of the gameplay, simply whether you are seen or perceived as a good person or a bad person.
What we saw in this video is much similar to what we saw in the first video release. Was he'd walk down the street and you can just look at people. They'd be on the phone. You can tap into the conversation. You know what he does for a living, how much money he makes. You can actually tap into his bank account and go to the ATM and take money from him. You can stop the train. You can change the lights. Anything that's electronic in a city, you have like a universal remote for. Mm-hmm. So you just wonder how that's actually going to play out. So could you, in this game, just walk down the streets and just keep changing lights? And,
I imagine so.
And so what does that do to the game?
Oh, yes. More champagne would be good. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, give me one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is so not formal.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Ray.
And by the way, if you're in the chat room, I actually just changed the setting on the mic because we're speaking so softly, so we're actually seeming a little lot louder to you. If it is too loud and you're hearing too much stuff behind you, let us know in the chat window and I can change it back. Just give me a little feedback on how we're doing, because I can't hear it. I rely upon you to be my ears. Anyway, you were saying, Dave?
So, actually, go to Nick for 1 sec.
But yeah, I kind of know what you mean. It's like you can control the lights, you can control the subway system, you can control like those little barriers that pop out of the ground to stop traffic.
Yeah, how are they going to, if you control everything, that's a lot. That's a lot to control. That's a lot to do. It's a lot to think about. It's a lot for me to think about. So you just randomly, you can listen to phone calls. You wonder how much of that's going to be pertinent to the game and how much of that is just going to be like NPC. It's almost too big. Does that make any sense? It's just, if you
see it being incredibly complicated, and so do I.
If you can control everything, so how are you going to do it? So you're walking down the street and you're like, I want to change the light so I can cross the street. Well, you can also stop the trains. You can also hack into this guy's phone. You can also, have that thing pop up in the middle of the street as a blockade. I mean, how big is the menu going to be to select what you can do?
My best guess is that it's probably like all context sensitive, where whatever you aim at is what you'll be able to interact with. Like, you won't be able to stop the subway when you're on the street. You'll have to be at a subway station. You'll have to look at the tracks, Like, you'll have to aim the cursor at something and
it'll
hit
give
A.
you options. It'll say, like, hit A to this.
Yeah,
to that,
something like that. But I'm with you in that, like, how big is it? Because one of the things they showed is, like,
You could just use my whole glass. It's all right.
You still had some in it. I didn't want to take it from you.
Here,
Someone's
pass it over
ran
here.
out, so someone's
All right.
getting
I'll have
short
it. I already have it.
Okay.
One of the things they showed was him like following this one girl named Sandy, and it's like the description of her was just got custody of her child.
And there's a restraining out. She has a restraining order out on her boyfriend.
Yeah, and apparently the smart city is so smart, it's like, hey, this woman is in danger for some reason, and it kind of shows her danger level. And
Yeah, it's profiled her as a likely crime victim.
And that was
Yeah.
that was a side quest. So that was an optional
yeah,
quest.
it's like that. I wonder if that's like a planned quest that they designed, or if that's just an emergent thing that happens. Well, hey, here's one random person on the street who's about to get mugged. You can follow them and save them if you want, and that will like increase your good standing in the city. Like, that's the thing about this game. They keep showing things about it, and I can't tell if what they're showing is designed or emergent. Because if it's emergent, that's the processing power of the next generation consoles at play and like contributing to gameplay. But if it's all designed, it's still really cool, but it's not quite as
It's kind of old school at this point.
it's not quite as mind blowing.
Yeah.
So yeah, Squeegee wanted to know, how does this compare to the multiple path problem solving in Deus Ex HR? I didn't play it, so
It's not so much about multiple path solving, because the thing about Deus Ex is that, like I said, it was all designed. Like, you had very specific levels, and hey, you want to get into this nightclub. You can either go to the door, and there's a guard there, and there are like two ways to get past the guard. Either beat him up or distract him. Or you could sneak around back and go through a vent. So, you have this very defined path, and you have these very defined ways around that path. But if the promise of Watch Dogs rings true, is that you won't even have a path. You'll be at point A, and you'll want to get to point B, and you can get there however the hell you want. Like, it won't be designed. Like, the promise is that you won't see the developer's hand anywhere.
The promise is it's real life.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the idea of the sandbox world taken to another extreme.
yeah. So I guess when we first saw the video, I forget when we first saw it, we were like, this is great. But then we also said, boy, is this going to be too much?
Ambitious. It's very ambitious.
It's ambitious,
it
which
is.
I'm really excited about.
I think ambition is good, especially when you're talking about an entirely new
and especially
console with
Yeah.
essentially a Harley Davidson, by the equivalent, not even that, a nuclear facility inside the hood for what we expect it to be. If they're not pushing that kind of boundary with what the console can do, it's like, go big or go home.
yeah, and especially with like these big developers like Ubisoft, like they are the ones capable of making this kind of crazy ambitious game. And I think that's kind of the reason I've softened up and kind of taken liking to Activision more, because the more I see of Destiny, the more I think, this is insane. You people are out of your minds. But that's the kind of crazy ambitious thing that those companies are only capable of making. Like, they are the only ones capable of being that insane. So it's good to see that. And especially with Ubisoft, I think they want Watch Dogs to be Assassin's Creed. Like, the same way Assassin's Creed replaced Prince of Persia as their
Right.
big thing,
Right.
I think they want Watch Dogs to replace Assassin's Creed.
Right.
So it makes sense that they would put all their crazy eggs in this basket.
Right. I agree. And I think that of the two, I'm very excited about Assassin's Creed. You're obviously really excited about Assassin's Creed. But of the two, I'm actually much more excited in a kind of a reserved way of Assassin's Creed, it's a known quantity.
Yeah.
Whereas Watchdog for me is like, I'm really excited to see how this is going to play out. This is much more of a Christmas present of like, you really don't know what's going to be inside.
Yeah.
It could be a present that you absolutely love or a present that you absolutely hate. But this is one of those rare circumstances within the gaming industry where this kind of, like you said, crazy ideas are actually a good thing. Because it is a new console. This only happens once every several years. When you have a brand new console, if you're not pushing the envelope of what possibly, maybe you can do, then you're not really doing what you should be doing. This is the time for complete experimentation, and that's what I think that this is. I hope this is going to be, and it may be successful, but it may not. But I'm not going to blame it if it's not successful. If it's genuinely trying to do what it looks like it's trying to do.
Yeah, I think what's kind of nice is that at the very worst, what I can say about Watch Dogs is that if it's not the promise of everything being emergent, it still looks like a really cool twist on the open world. And it looks like a unique twist on the open world, and the idea of hacking into things and prying into people's lives. That's neat.
That's a really smart sounding game. That's the best way that I can describe it. Is it's not just sound cool, it's actually really smart.
Yeah.
It's obviously somebody who's read a few books and is enough of a cynic that you have to be kind of cynical when it comes to technology. And it's just, you could just see that this is somebody that's read a lot of books and we've seen a lot of movies. And it's a less extremist version. What?
The cheese.
The cheese is awesome.
Yeah, no.
It was this really soft white one.
Brie.
No.
Oh, really? Oh,
Brie.
I love this one.
A good soft brie is a good aged brie is very few things.
Now, the three of us saw the initial Watch Dogs video, so we had an idea what it was. Now, Stormtrooper Ray hadn't seen that, so that was his first look at the Watch Dogs. So I wanted your opinion because you hadn't seen it yet. So what did you think about kind of controlling the city type of aspect?
I liked that. I liked the way it looked. It reminded me of a lot of their other games. It looks like they tied them all in together. The way some of the other games play. It's interesting. There were a few things. One thing I didn't like, and I noticed. It said you tap into the computers and you can get information. So everybody you're looking at through their cell phone, you're getting information. Yet you look at a bum on the ground. It says homeless, jobless, no money. Does that mean he has a cell phone? His smartphone. How are you getting information for this bum? You got his name.
I did not pick up on that.
That's the first thing I do. How is he getting that bum's name? The bum has no job, no home, but he has a smartphone that he can tap into.
He has an Obama phone.
I wasn't even thinking of that. Those are Obama phones.
All bums have them.
Yeah, why not?
That's what all the cool bums
no
are getting.
No home, but
yeah,
right, we got a phone.
I did not pick up on that. That is good.
I know, neither did I.
Because in the original video that they had,
Sorry, it's down the way.
he actually went into a restaurant, and he was using that power of his or whatever to find someone that was calling to report him. Okay, so he was just like, this person on the phone talking home, this person was doing this person, and this person's like, here he is, here's that guy you're looking for. All right, we're on our way. So he used that to kind of be on the lookout. Right. Now he's, like I said, you're walking down the street and he zooms in on a bum. So this was the first time we saw that. So he was using it to get information. But you're right, that's the whole bum thing.
Yeah, how are you getting the bum's information? Where's that coming from?
RFID tags. Implanted in the skull.
I mean, I noticed
tag and release. They do that with all wildlife.
I did not pick up on that because we had seen. That's why I'm asking you because we had seen the other video, so we knew that he could tap in to other people's things. But yeah, so go on. So beyond that,
yeah. So I mean, I just had no idea. That just leads to others. If they're giving the information out for a bum on the street, where else is that going to lead to? I think maybe a little too much. And not everybody has a smartphone out there. I guess that was one thing I wasn't very fond of. I don't think you should be able to get information from every person. That's not very realistic. But again,
it's not very realistic. But remember, this is a near future.
That's true.
And in the near future, the city is controlled by CTOS.
Could be
City OS.
An iris scan or something like that, right?
Right, iris scan. That everybody has to have a registration because in order to get any city services, maybe you need that kind of registration. Yeah. This is a near future, society. Because obviously we don't have this kind of integration yet, but in fact I thought they said 2025.
Could be.
Maybe that makes.
I think when she gave the date line of Aiden Pierce, and they said subject Aiden Pierce on April 12th, 2025, and it was kind of garbled at that point. But I think that it actually said that it is we're talking about 10, 15 years from now, not...
Yeah, but what did you think about the overall concept of that being a game?
I was very intrigued by it. I mean, it really drew me in. Like I said, I was I was going to pre-order it. I went over there, and then I knew you guys have other places that you wanted to hit, and I didn't want to take too long researching. But when it came up with a $100 price tag, I was like, I'll research this again.
Yeah. That's a little.
I'm not gonna-
I don't know what they were offering $100.
I'm going to go on to say, in fact, if anybody's at home right now, if you could check Amazon right now, if you could check the pre-order price for Watch Dogs, and maybe I'm hoping that is the collector's edition, because if it's not the collector's edition,
Yeah.
I will practically guarantee you, I will bet you $100 that the next generation console games will not cost $100.
I don't think.
so you will bet me a console game?
Yeah.
I will bet you a console
That,
game.
it's not going to be a
It
console
just
game
came
price?
up here. Watch Dogs
Okay.
was the regular $59.96.
$59.96.
So it has to be a special edition
Special
for $100.
edition.
Booyah. So when are you going to give me my $100?
Yeah.
I didn't take the bet. I would not take the bet.
So the Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs, we kind of finished up the day with.
Yep. So as far as the rest of PAX, do we have a pick of PAX?
How about this? Let's try to come up with maybe game of the show. Let's maybe come up with our most either unique or creative game. Maybe the game we're most looking to play. Come up with a few different things here.
Okay.
What do you think?
Let's hit game of the show, because I think that we've been thinking about that the most.
The worst game we saw. I mean,
Yeah, I think the worst game we saw would be a
Wait,
good
wait,
thing.
wait. Let's not give. Let's just go over what we're gonna figure out.
No, I'm just saying. I think that's also a good idea.
Yeah. Some of our experiences at PAX. I know. AC Ray said PS4 price is $99.99. PS4 price.
I guarantee you.
Booyah, you owe me a beer.
I guarantee you it's a placeholder price.
Oh.
Because they haven't actually announced the price for PS4 games yet. That's just Amazon guessing. They do that.
But
Would they guess with 90? I guess maybe they
Yes.
would.
Do you want to take that bet? That bet is on the table. I am serious about that bet.
I tell you what.
No, I'm not going to take the bet. Not going to take it.
What would
$50?
No.
I tell you what.
$20. Come on, man. You got to feed my habit.
No, man. I'm not taking it.
$1.
No.
50 cents.
I'll bet you 50 cents. How about that?
Yeah.
All right. I got an idea. I will send out a category, and we'll all pick our favorite category.
It says Amazon, Squeegee just said Amazon 99. 99.99 doesn't say anything about special edition.
Oh, let's see.
But I'm getting a different
Well,
price.
now Ray's looking it up, and he's seeing,
My question, maybe I wasn't on Xbox 360.
because you're looking at it for the 360. What about next gen?
Yeah. So yeah.
Because the 360 version, if this comes out for the 720, the 360 version obviously is going to have to be gimped in some way.
Yeah.
And if
All
it's
right,
not,
well,
then I have to question about
He says
whether
$60 for 360.
PlayStation
Yeah.
4, it's listed at $99.99.
99.99.
I know, and I tell you, there's a placeholder price because
Okay.
they haven't announced the
Okay.
price yet.
Okay.
They haven't even announced the price of the console.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Let's start this. Let's start in that chat room with
50 cents.
With
Yeah.
with Dave,
50 cents.
with Dave the Tech. So if Dave the Tech is still listening, he asks, and we'll all answer this. What is your favorite part of PAX East? So let's all just respond to that. We'll go around. We'll start with Nick. What is your favorite part of PAX East?
Probably part, not game, and just part, the fact that they brought back the Steel Battalion controllers from the first PAX I went to. So they have a room of people playing Steel Battalion.
Hold on a second. New update. Squeegee says $59.99 for every edition except PS4, actually, including the Wii U.
What do you mean, $60
Well,
for
that's
Wii U?
like I said. We're still saying Nick's still saying it is a
Okay.
placeholder because they haven't even announced the price of the
Yeah,
console.
and people know the price
And
of
they can't
Wii U
they can't
games.
do the 720. They can't list the 720 because
Yeah.
the 720 doesn't theoretically exist yet.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Placeholder price, people.
Well, the 360, when that came out, I remember placeholder for the games when they started showing up online were $70, $80.
Yeah,
they were
$20
definitely
more.
higher.
Yeah. All right. So let's go back to our questions. Our favorite part.
Yeah. My favorite part is the fact that we brought back the Steel Battalion stuff. So there's a room of people playing Steel Battalion, all hooked up
Not
together.
the new one, not the Kinect version.
No.
No, yes, not the Kinect version. Like this
Tell me
is
your pineapple, by the way.
okay. This is the $200 30-button controller Steel Battalion, the good Steel Battalion, and it was so much fun to get in there and play that again. Oh,
I have to agree. It's right up there with my favorite things about this show. It
warms
was
the cockles of my heart.
right because it's been gone for the last couple of years, and I was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
little disappointed. It was like it was the high point of my show 2 years ago. 3 years ago, I guess it was, and it disappeared, and it's come back. Thank
That
goodness.
was great. Thank you.
Let's see.
Your favorite part of PAX East?
Do you have a favorite part already in your head? So I have to think about.
You know, I was trying to kick around what I'm going to take out of this. I guess for me personally, picking up that new MSI laptop, allowing me now to do some PC gaming, for me was the ability now to not just bypass anything that wasn't Xbox 360. Okay, yeah, I had a Wii, but no one really plays it. In fact, did you notice there was hardly any Wii stuff there? Usually you had all this.
There was a whole section of Wii stuff, and it all looked like ass, so I didn't even go by.
I didn't see any Wii stuff at all. I mean, there was always stuff in there, the sports games or, crazy adventure games. There was nothing Wii.
Yeah, there was, well,
The only Wii thing I saw was Monster Hunter 3. Monster Hunter Ultimate 3.
Nintendo had its own, area for the Wii U. I specifically went there looking for something interesting, and it was, for all the fucking things, Nintendo Land actually had its own kiosk. Nintendo Land comes with the game.
Well, they don't have any new games to show off because there's nothing coming out.
Exactly, and that's what's a little disappointing to me. It's like, Nintendo, come on, you have the same problem with the Wii. Why are you not taking advantage of this while you can? You are out. You are the next-gen console that is actually out on the market and has games. Why didn't you plan this better? That's a problem, always a problem.
Yeah.
Capitalize on your advantage,
Yes,
and they have not done it.
They're wasting their year.
And the thing is, it's a much better, and much more easily understandable by developers console than the Wii was. Because the Wii was completely revolutionary to anything that had ever been seen before. This is essentially a tablet. It's a tablet. We have tablet games. Why are you not moving games like The Room onto that? Why do we not have more games like Little Inferno? I mean, Zombie U, yes, perfect example. But why is there only one Zombie U?
Actually, you're right. I'm surprised that Nintendo's not outreaching to a lot of those really popular, cult favorite iOS games and saying, "Hey, make it for the tablet."
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Because those are the games that would work really well on Nintendo's downloadable service.
Mm-hmm. And even so, why do they only have one hardcore, well, maybe not one, but really they only have one Wii U, I don't want to say exclusive, but Wii U designed for the Wii U hardcore game? They could be capitalizing on a whole section of the market that is sitting there and waiting for the next big thing, and they're already there. They're there almost a full year before anybody else, and they're just sitting there twiddling their thumbs.
Okay, so what were we talking about before?
Oh, we were talking about a favorite part of.
Oh yeah, Goldie.
So,
what was your favorite part?
So my favorite part, I guess, was probably discovering some PC games that I would never ever look at. Some I stumbled on, some were in booths. So for me it was coming up with I bought a couple of games digitally that I got to go download now. So for me it was finding some games that I can now go play on my new laptop. So for me this was like a new door, a new chapter opening. Because as far as Xbox went, there was a few like Dishonored. Really, I had never played that, and we got to take a look at the new DLC. So now I think I'm going to go check out Dishonored on Xbox 360.
Should be nice and cheap now too.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of hoping. But for me, there was a lot of really cool 360 PC games that I can't wait to go home and try. So for me, it was that's what it was for me. This was the year that I could look at something besides Xbox.
For me, the favorite part of this year would probably be the favorite part that I have of every year, and it's a kind of a secret guilty pleasure. That's not really a guilty pleasure, but it's kind of a secret pleasure that
Sharing a room with me.
Yes. No.
Sharing a room with me and Goldie.
Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. Oh, fucking Christ, no. Oh, no. No.
Actually, can I change my favorite?
No, you cannot.
Please.
No, you cannot. Don't listen to him. La, 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 la. We're not listening. La, 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 la.
All right. My second favorite part is when we were in the booth together for Outlast.
Okay, we're not talking about that. Goalie is trying to spread rumors about me. It was sexual harassment, and it was you harassing me. It was you harassing me.
I didn't know there was a glory hole in that booth.
Oh God. So
That's a game that Edie played.
yeah,
She gobbled that one up.
my favorite part of PAX is the
When it's over?
That's true. There is that moment, but the
That's awesome.
the sound that you hear when you go into
I'm saying nothing. Nothing. I'm doing it.
it's the sound that you hear when you go into the room, and it's like this din. That's okay. Never mind.
Oh, Nick.
So, Stormtrooper, what was your favorite part of PAX?
I was very impressed with that controller.
The Steel Battalion?
No, I'm sorry, the one you hook your smartphone on.
Oh, the Moga.
Moga.
Yeah.
Yep. I have the small light version now, and I'm excited to get some games and actually try it, especially having the Note 2. I mean, it's like having a plasma TV carrying around
that's
with
a big
me.
Phone. It's a big phone.
And I'm excited for the other one to come out.
It looks
the
like
Pro version.
The Pro version looks like an Xbox 360 controller, and it hooks right up to your phone. And you can even hook it right up to your TV. So
Well, your phone would go to your TV with the
actually no, it would have to be a tablet. Yeah, because
No, it's like any Android device.
anything with the MHD.
But what that? Oh, well, okay, yeah, that device does two things. Is you can put your phone in it. It actually it folds open, and you can put your phone in it, and you can play a phone like a video game. Okay, almost like the old Sega. What was
Like a
that?
DS. It makes it look like a DS.
Yes, it looks like a DS
with the screen on top.
Yeah, and then the other one was if you that's a calendar reminder there. If the other way was if you could play on a tablet. It's got to be Android though. So if you played on a tablet, then you could hook the tablet up to your TV, so you could actually, in a sense, be gaming on your TV through your tablet.
Right.
But that Moga thing. So they have the first one, which is the one that's like the Xbox, is the Pro,
Yes.
and the other one was it the Pocket?
The Pocket, the Slim. It's about as flat as a smartphone.
Yeah. Obviously the Pro was way better.
Yeah.
It was light. It played like an Xbox. The Pocket one, I guess, is good in a pinch.
More for travel. Something to have in your pocket. You're sitting in the doctor's office. You can pull them out, slap them together, and play.
Yeah.
You're not going to have the big bulge like the Pro controller in your pocket. It's feasible to
Bottom button.
walk around with it.
Yeah. Yeah, so you like the Moga there? Yeah.
I did. I really, really like that. And I think I'm not a smartphone video game player. I don't play games on my phone very often, maybe the occasional game here and there while waiting at a doctor's office.
Yeah.
But I do see myself a little bit more now that I got the Slim one.
Yeah.
Some of those games, the zombie game we were playing, that they
That was
demoed it with.
fantastic.
was.
Dead Trigger or something like
Dead
that?
Trigger, yeah. And especially for being a free game.
Can you believe that was a free game, Nick?
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, for the demo, I mean, I expect at least a few bucks.
Yeah. But and then you have their app. Excuse me. You have their app that you go into, and
You can search all the
you
games
can search
that are
all the compatible games.
Yeah.
You don't have to wonder, is this
That's
game
what I
gonna
was
work?
wondering, too. It's like, how do we find a game that works with your joystick? And it was, well, we have an app for that.
Right.
So,
The other thing that I'm curious about, and this, if I can use, say, a video game emulator like the PS1 emulator on my phone, and then use that controller to play PS1 games.
That's a really good question. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. I remember him saying something about you being able to map out the buttons, or the developers could add it in. I don't know if there were options for you to select what you wanted each button to do.
Yeah, he did kind of say something about mapping out the buttons. It might be possible, because I think you have to have the app running on the tablet of the phone to let the game know that you're using the joystick.
And I do know that the Pro version had that switch. So if the developer had a ready, if they were a trusted developer and had everything done correctly, you have it on the green side, you switch it over to the red side, and that was for someone that they were uncertain.
Yeah, that was
if they did it right.
Yeah, that wasn't confirmed or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, I did like that with that Moga controller. Boy, I tell you, that was different.
Yeah, that Pro version. I'm extremely impressed with the Pro version, and like I said, I don't normally play games on my phone, but that really drew me in.
Yeah,
that was my highlight of the show.
It was. Yeah, that was a good one. So yes, well.
So then, in addition to your favorite part of the show, I guess what was your favorite game of the show?
Oh my gosh. It's really hard to say what favorite game, because there was the most unique game, there was the best PC game that I wanted to go play. There was there was just so many different games. I don't think I could put a favorite. I would rather go by categories. I would rather say, like, what do you think the most unique game was?
Unique. That's tough.
For me, it would have to be Octodad.
Okay, yeah.
Octodad has to be. Now, not the only unique game. Obviously, we had the Nun. Was it Nun Killers?
Nun Attack.
That was unique, but not like Octodad. Octodad blew me away because there was nothing like Octodad on the floor.
Yeah, and it's so hard to get like humor in games right. It's so hard to make a game that's funny and fun.
Well, like Ray said, he goes, I don't think I could play this game.
I would be laughing too much. I mean, it was like hysterical to watch. And how am I going to play that watching,
Yeah.
Well, I just couldn't stop cracking up. I mean, it was so silly.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun to watch, and what was really unique about it is that it was a completely different physics from any other game that I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, so it was a sloppy octopus, basically.
Yeah.
Essentially, they took what would be considered a bug in a PC game and made it a game, which I think is just genius. Things that other programmers, they actually worked out of the game. Thank you.
You can leave that right.
That other programmers actually considered a problem with the game and worked out, they actually expanded upon and turned it into a game itself.
And what I like too is just you could tell that these guys had some sort of a witty sense of humor, because they had a initial release of Octodad. And Octodad's basically a cartoon style game of an octopus. We talked about it in one of our interviews.
Did my colleague tell you that we are breaking things down? Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, you better go get some more of this then, right?
Yeah, you guys want some more?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, might as well. So
Fill me up.
I'll do two at a time.
okay. So the actual we're having our champagne is where we wrap up the PAX East. But getting back to the Octodad being unique, these guys definitely have a sense of humor, because they had an initial Octodad. The one we were looking at was the new one, and it was called Octodad Dadliest Catch. Not Deadliest, Dadliest Catch.
I didn't even realize that until you said it. And, yeah.
Really? You didn't notice it said Dadliest Catch?
No, I thought it just said Deadliest Catch.
Yeah.
And at first I thought it was just, goalie making a dumb pun. And then, I glanced at the sign and I was like, wait a minute, there's a letter missing there. Wait, what? Oh my god, it really is Dadliest Catch.
So these guys know how to do it right. They have the puns in there. They're not taking it too seriously. My only question is how fast would you get tired playing that game? You know what I mean? It's funny for 5, 10, 15 minutes, but at some point, wouldn't it be like, okay,
when we were showing it to us, they mentioned that there was a very dry sense of humor. Actually, no, not even dry. It wasn't dry at all. A very broad sense of humor that runs through the entire game, and there are surprises and things that they didn't want to give away because they didn't want to blow the punchline.
Yeah.
And that I think that they're smart enough to know that in small doses that can be really hilarious, and in long doses maybe not so.
Well, it also seems like the game is split up into really short sections.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were demoing 3 different sections. Like, the one I played is his wedding day, where he has to, get dressed in a suit.
Finish it, though.
And then the part
It's a brand new
Goalie played is and then there's another part where you have to mow the lawn, and then another thing where you have to like get a package and open the door and make coffee. And
that
so
was very funny.
yeah, so there are all these like kind of short sections.
Yeah.
So I think it's broken up nicely into like 10-15 minute chunks so that
So maybe
it doesn't
get bored,
it doesn't want you to play it 8 hours straight.
Okay. So I guess what we're talking about, Edie, is most unique. We were trying to find our best game, but we're going to kind of maybe build up to that.
Well, I think Octodad has to say the most unique game.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, like I said,
Yeah.
so I just want to know if you guys saw something else that was
Not
very...
really. Nothing that even that pales. Everything pales in comparison to Octodad.
I don't know. Like, I want to say Transistor because I think Transistor is really unique. Like, the way it mixes turn-based combat with, like, real-time combat is definitely unique for the action genre.
That's different.
Yeah.
And, yeah, but at the same time, Octodad has such a different kind of gameplay to it. It's not an action game. It's... In many ways, it's kind of a new genre. It's a comedy game. Like, it's not really an adventure game. It's not a point-and-click game. It's not a game that's about accomplishing a goal. It's just a game about messing around.
Right.
And that's kind of the whole point of it. And that's kind of nice. It's kind of nice for it to be... It's a game that's completely ridiculous and kind of revels in that ridiculousness.
Agreed. What's the next category?
Why don't we talk about maybe the...
No, I'm thank you. Fine.
Ray, we were talking about our most unique game that we saw. Did you have anything besides Octodad you thought that was very out of the ordinary?
I did.
Okay.
It was the Raise the Dead. Intrigued me a lot. I really like the idea that you're a zombie, and you have to build a zombie army, and you raise people from the dead. His name is also Ray.
Oh.
I did not see
And that's what pulled me in. I saw the name Ray, so it's my name. I'm like, I have to see what this one is. And it looked like a really fun game. It was really great artwork.
Was it a tablet or PC? Or was it?
You know what? I didn't notice. I just was watching the video on the TV screen, and unfortunately, I forgot to
If it was
ask.
an indie game, it probably was a PC.
Oh, I remember seeing it. It's in the indie game. I believe. Don't quote me. I believe it is an iOS
iOS, okay.
Hopefully, it's Android.
Yeah.
and Android.
Oh, okay.
When I say iOS, I usually
okay.
mean.
Well, some are iOS exclusive, some are Android exclusive.
No, I don't think this is
All right,
definitely.
how about let's start the
Well,
ball.
actually, I want to talk
Okay.
about unique games. There was one I saw. I didn't play it, but I spent a lot of time watching it and talking to the developer. It's called Contrast. And it's basically this puzzle platformer that's 2D and 3D. In that there's a 3D world that you run around in, but you can become a shadow where your 3D character like gets sucked into the wall, has a shadow, and then it becomes a 2D side scroller where you're jumping along the shadows. And you play as the imaginary friend of a little girl whose parents are like going through a real rough patch, and she wants to bring her parents back together. And the game is about you trying to help bring her parents back together. But the style is really great. It's like this 1920s vaudeville carnival style to it. And the only characters in the 3D world are you, the imaginary friend, and the little girl. Everyone else just appears as silhouettes. So like when you see your parents fighting, you just see the shadows. And like when you see a band playing, you just see the shadows. So it's this real stylized world that's really dark and kind of disturbing and kind of sad. Because it's like, oh, here's this girl whose parents are fighting and she exists in this weird, lonely world. But then at the same time, you have this really clever use of the environment where the level they showed off has you kind of starting up this carousel, and the light comes out from the carousel, so you see the shadows of like the horses going up and down on the walls, and so you use that to jump on those horses, become a shadow, jump on the shadow of the horses to get higher in the world, then jump out and you're on the roofs of the buildings, and you use that to like untether a balloon. And so yeah, the combination of the 2D 3D world with the real sad story and a world that kind of reflects that, like it's a great mix of story and style and gameplay. I'm really, really looking forward to it. And it comes out in a couple months, too, on PC.
So the next.
Yeah, let's talk about maybe.
Well, you did finish it.
No, not yet. Oh, did we?
Oh,
we did.
I got
Oh,
it on
yeah,
my
we
lap.
did.
Oh,
We
hang
did.
on.
I'm sorry.
Hang
I just want to remove as much.
Okay.
That's okay.
Thank
That's
you.
all of
All right,
us.
thank you.
Yeah.
And you didn't need fork, do you?
No.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Very good.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I guess if we're talking about worst game, and there was some games, obviously. Let's talk about just one that we saw, because there was a lot that I walked by, and I know we all did. That were just like, okay, whatever, not interested. But maybe one that we were, I don't know, just maybe
Disappointed by?
Disappointed by for one reason or another. And Nick, you're gonna kill me for saying this, but it's one that we actually interviewed, and it was the. What was the name of it? The Children of Liberty.
I'm putting down my fist.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I thought you were going to say Transistor.
no.
Then we would have had a problem.
Well, that was another one that I really didn't care for. I played it a little bit. I was somewhat intrigued. That one's just not my thing. But we actually did.
I think Children of Liberty is an interesting idea, and it's executed kind of cool. I'm interested to see how it's going to evolve in the next few months.
Well, the thing is,
But
they don't have a lot to show.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But my thing was Children.
The demo was kind of a yawn.
Yeah, with
I
Children of
kinda liked
Liberty.
it. Go ahead.
For me, it was a platformer, and it was something we've done a million times. Is jump. The only thing they did was kind of neat was you could hide in the shadows and stab the British, but it just looked like that. First of all, I couldn't get over the first jump. Okay, I'm not good at platforms, but I was like jumping and falling, go back, jump, fall, jump, fall. So I was getting frustrated with it. It shouldn't be that difficult. Okay, and once you hit that wall of like you start getting angry, in the first minute or two of a game, it's the sand starts shrinking. You know what I mean? The hourglass starts to drain a little faster, and I immediately tuned out. And I don't know who I handed the control to, but I was like, "Here, you play it."
Took it.
I couldn't get over the hump, and then I watched you guys play and kind of hiding in the shadows. It was like a 2D side scroller, but you could turn a corner, which is neat. But I just was like, I had hopes because it was like Revolutionary War, it was British, Paul Revere, blah blah blah. But it just was. It did absolutely nothing for me, and I got so frustrated trying to play this game that I was really bummed out because that was our first interview of the day. And I was like, oh, cool, Boston-based, Children of Liberty, what's going on? First of all, I sucked at it, and that would be my disappointment. And I'm not saying worst game in the show, like this is the absolute worst game I've ever
You
seen.
were disappointed, the biggest disappointment.
Yeah, when I looked at all the games that I put my hands on or that I looked at, and I hope they don't get mad at me for saying this, but maybe they'll fix some things. But for me, it wasn't my cup of tea. Let's just say it wasn't
your cup of tea.
Wasn't my cup. Like, if it was a hockey game, you might say the worst game was hockey because you don't like hockey. But for me, it was just like, man, hiding in the shadows, it didn't do it for me. The whole jumping system didn't do it for me. The whole sneaking up behind,
Right.
Nothing worked for me in that game.
Nick, your worst, not say worst, it's your biggest disappointment of the show.
Oops. I'm trying to think of all the stuff that we saw. I guess of all the stuff that I played, I'd have to choose. I'm trying to remember if it was the Dungeon or Tower of Elementals.
Oh, Dungeon of Elements. Dungeon of Elements.
Because there's a lot in that I think is really, really interesting. Like even the core gameplay of this Dr. Mario style puzzle, where basically instead of like getting rid of all the Dr. Mario pills, you just have to get rid of like the quote unquote enemies, and the fact that like as you put down your pills and you kind of stack it up because you suck and you're not getting rid of things, you like leave behind gas, and so then you have to get rid of the gas, and you have items where you can like use a sword to attack them, or you can craft dynamite and do that, and that's a cool system. And the level they showed was really nice because it had like a hole in it so that you could dump unwanted pieces in there, and that's really nice because it meant that in a way you couldn't fail the level unless you really messed things up, because if you had a piece that you couldn't put anywhere, you could get rid of it. And I like that, and I like a puzzle game that does that. And then outside of that, like all the crafting they had, like having a crafting system that feeds back into it, having a world map that feeds back into it, having like RPGs and stuff that feeds back into that core gameplay. It's all really neat, and I think that's really cool. But I didn't like Dr. Mario. That kind of puzzle game is, I don't know, it's okay. It's kind of like Tetris, and I think Tetris is really, really cool and like really technically amazing, but god damn, I cannot play Tetris. And it's the kind of Tetris is the kind of game that I play for 5 minutes.
Right. I
and
couldn't
then I'm
see
bored
myself.
of it.
Yeah.
And that's Dr. Mario is kind of the same way. I play for 5 minutes and I'm bored of it. And so I think it's really neat that they've built out all of these really interesting RPG mechanics out of this core system, and that actually effectively feed back into this core system. But that core system is one that I wouldn't play for more than 5 minutes. Although, I think it was a mobile game, wasn't it? So
No, it was
it's
a
not
PC
meant
game.
to be played. Oh, it was PC. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it was a mobile game, it would make sense that you
Right.
wouldn't want to play it for more than 5 minutes.
Right.
Okay.
I think my biggest disappointment, honestly, is Outlast.
Really?
Do not
Well, I
like
think
that.
we had a bad experience trying to get into them.
No,
They-
it had nothing to do with the
Really?
experience of getting into them. I think it was a really, really, really neat idea. I think that it is in the process of being executed very, very well. Just in the point, the period, I mean, I picked up from you because they only had one position open for us. And I was watching carefully so that I could keep track of how to do stuff, what to do.
It's basic.
It was basic. Oh yeah, no, and I was actually thinking that it looked really good until the point where we got to where the whatever that was that it was attacking us would just relentlessly attack us, and there's no combat to be able to get yourself out of it. The whole point is to stay hidden. Well, if you're supposed to stay hidden and then you get seen, and there's really no place to get away from something.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Then what are you going to do except die?
Yeah.
And it's like I wanted to die, and I just sat there and waited and waited and waited and waited
So
to die,
how
and
easy is
wouldn't
it
go.
to run past the guys? How
Very
easy is it?
difficult.
Yeah?
Very difficult.
And
Okay.
that's the thing. It says, well, it said some people you could hide in the dark from, and some you couldn't. So you were hiding in the dark pretty well, I thought, and he found you. So maybe that was one of the guys you couldn't hide in the dark from.
Yeah, yeah.
I was the same way. I was watching you play. I was like, well, how? And when we asked him, and he said there was no combat, so there was no sense
Right. Well,
looking
if there's
for a
no
weapon.
combat and you can't hide from something,
How do you get away from it?
right? How do you deal with that?
Yeah.
Other than it being a complete process of dying over and over again,
Yeah.
which takes you out of the whole horror genre.
Well, when you say how do you deal with that, there have been games that dealt with that. Like Goldie brought up Amnesia when we were
I
talking about
haven't
it
finished
earlier.
that one yet, but that's the same way. Is that you got to hide, but the hiding in that, from the small amount of time I played, you were hidden.
Right.
You
Yeah,
were
that's the
hidden
thing.
in Amnesia.
And then there's this other game that I really loved on PlayStation 2 called Haunting Ground. We played as this little girl who's like being chased by this crazy monster thingamajigger. But it would look for you. And so if you like hid under the bed, it would look under the bed and, it could find you. But when it found you, you had a chance to escape. And like the screen would get all wonky and crazy the faster, the closer it got. But you still had a chance to run away, run into another room, and hide someplace where it
and
wouldn't
that-
find you.
And that wasn't
No,
really
right,
an
no,
option in this
no.
one. That they're really
Once you got cornered.
once you were
yeah.
cornered, you were done.
Okay.
Yeah. So
And there was not a fast respawn, which was
I would like to. I am hoping for better things from Outlast. So I like it. I like they based it on that Session 9, which is out of my hometown. So that was kind of cool, I thought. But yeah, I guess we'll have to see how they pull it off. It's still,
Yeah.
let's say 5-6 weeks out.
no, I can't remember when that was out.
That's actually not very far away.
That's not very far. No, they were just pre-alpha.
August, I
They were
think. Maybe
pre-alpha.
August.
They were pre-alpha. So I think that
Pre-alpha? That's not.
No,
5,
not pre-alpha.
6
They're
weeks.
pre-beta. Sorry, pre-beta.
No.
Pre-beta, okay.
That's
They're
still
alpha.
5 weeks.
So I don't. Yeah, but I still, it was definitely not. It was the biggest disappointment because we worked so hard to get
Yeah.
that, which understandable. I completely understand why it was
It had some
difficult to
good
get
points.
it.
It really did.
No,
but
there
yeah.
was a lot of things that it did right, but I think that ultimately it actually had a very fatal flaw to it.
Yeah.
For-
Yeah, you kept dying and dying. I did see that.
Yeah.
We actually exited the demo early, too.
Right, exactly,
Okay.
because it's like, right, Right,
They're like, you haven't
exactly.
finished it. Like, and they said, you
Done.
haven't finished it demo yet. It's like,
Well, I can
yeah.
give you more batteries. It's like, well, I don't
Yeah.
want you to give me a cheat. I want you to show me a
Yeah.
demo of how the gameplay's going to be. Because if I'm playing this at
It
home,
had a lot of
I'm
Alan
not going to
Wake
get
feel
free
to it.
batteries.
It was like running out of batteries and a flashlight, and what do you do? And
Oh, but Alan Wake was good.
yeah,
Yeah, and I didn't like Alan Wake about that, which is I am not a big fan of shortage of assets.
Yeah.
It's a very hard thing to do to balance that correctly.
It is, but if it does it correctly,
If
that
it does
is-
it correctly, it's perfect.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't do it correctly,
But
it's
Alan Wake did it
horrible.
really well,
Alan Wake did it well.
and you still didn't like
I
it.
still didn't like it.
All right, let's go into Stormtrooper Ray. From what you saw, you only here one day, but from what you saw, what do you think was your kind of disappointment for games?
Because I was only there for one day, I really didn't see anything I could say was a disappointment to me. I've never been before
Okay.
at all in the past, so this was everything was new and exciting
Okay.
for me. But hearing the game, I'll tell you, the game we're just talking about just doesn't sound interesting to me. I don't like stealthy games. I'm more of a run and gun type of guy. So any type of game,
It has no combat.
yeah. You know, I would assume that would have probably been my least favorite just from hearing you guys.
Yeah, you would if you run a gun. You just Outlast is so not.
Yeah, I never did well in games like Splinter Cell because I'm not a stealthy type
Oh, then
person.
you will
when I
really
play.
hate this guy.
Oh,
Yeah. Maybe our funnest, I don't say a funnest moment, but maybe, I don't know what to call it.
your showing?
when I tell
Anytime.
Oh.
Okay.
she's okay.
Okay.
One of our, maybe our,
You have to be out of here.
Out of here?
Yeah.
10 o'clock?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I mean like this
10
bar
o'clock.
10 o'clock.
area.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
so
She
we're
told
good
us to stay. She said we were fine.
Oh, cool.
Maybe our biggest surprise moment. For me, and why I say that, and I'm going to, so you guys can think about it. For me, was when we were interviewing, I think it was it Sebastian from Dead Island, and we told him about our phony beach ball achievement, and he loved it. And
Yeah.
to me, that was a kind of a nice surprise moment that we had. We told someone that what we did in their game, and he laughed hysterically, and he loved. To me, that was okay. We'll call it the feel good moment. Feel good moment of PAX. That was my feel good moment. Is when we told him that we had a little running joke in Dead Island that if you kicked the beach ball 100 yards total, you got an achievement, which was total false. It was we made it up, and we had so many people kicking that damn beach ball, and he loved it. He loved it. So my feel good moment was during that interview for Dead Island Riptide. Feel good moment.
Skip.
Skip?
Well, let me think about it. I guess most surprising feel good moment is when one of the guys from Ubisoft asked for a Gamehounds hat.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool.
Yeah. I can't think of other those than those two.
Like feel good moment. Like if you're talking
Sometimes
about
I just kind of sprung up, and you're like,
like if
boy,
you're talking
that was-
about biggest surprise, like I can think of games that surprised me.
Yes.
But in terms of like moments,
something
that's
made you feel
harder.
good. Something like that was really cool.
Yeah, when the guy asked for the Gamehounds hat.
Anything out of you, Wade? Was there something that kind
Absolutely, but
What's
again,
that?
it's going to come from never having been.
Okay, well, go ahead.
And when we first walked in, and Edie was like, "Are you ready?" As you take a few steps, 3, 2, 1, and as we walk to that escalator, the first view of PAX
Yeah.
was just amazing.
Mine
It
was too. My first view.
jaw dropping.
Yeah.
That's that
And-
moment that
and-
you realize,
and you-
oh,
and you,
wow.
Yeah, and you know what's weird is that I've never been at the opening bell at PAX because I have to work on Friday morning when it opens.
Officially known as the Nerd Rush.
Right.
Right.
Now, don't they line up in these ridiculous line rows
Yes.
to get in?
Yeah, it's literally miles long to get in on the Nerd Rush. Every morning, actually.
signed it.
But we just bypass it, which is one of the nice things about having a media pass. But yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but if you were to get there and seen the line to get in, it's ridiculous. But yeah, but seeing all the people down in the pit, yeah,
Yeah, that was quite an amazing sight.
yeah.
Yeah, but we are also 68 minutes in.
Yeah, any
God,
feel good
I
moment?
can't think of
No?
anything other than the two that you picked. I mean, there were games that really, really surprised me.
Okay, then let's change the subject.
Yeah, so we'll go back. I
Yeah.
just said I didn't know if there was something that jumped up because that made me feel good. I really did. And then Ubisoft. That was kind of a cool brushes with greatness. so to speak.
Seeing Bobby Blackwolf was always good. Actually, that's the big thing for me almost every year is just seeing so many people that I don't see all the time. People from England, people from Australia, people from...
I guess if you want to talk about feel-good moments, Kowloon was a feel-good moment.
Kowloon's always a feel-good
You were
moment.
feeling good at Kowloon. The cherries on the tongue. I need to see that video.
Oh, yeah.
We'll post it, don't worry.
All right, let's talk about some of our favorite games. It's going to be real hard for me to pick a favorite. It really is.
Not for me. Not quite. No question.
No?
No question. Easy peasy.
All right, then you start. Then you have all the answers.
Elder Scrolls Online.
Really?
Whoa.
Elder Scrolls Online. I am so sporting a gigantic Woody for that right now.
Really?
And that was, if you want to say surprise moment, that was the biggest surprise for me. That I
You
would
were playing that, having some fun with that.
Right, and that I would sit down and immediately feel the MMO pull just start and see myself, oh wow. The defining factor, though, and that's the case with all MMOs, is not whether it's a good game or whether it's balanced right or whether it plays well, but who's playing it and how much. And that's going to make the determination. Because I've been wrong about MMOs before. I felt really, really good about APB. I picked APB for game of the show 3 years ago
20 minutes
here
later.
at Boston.
The developer was gone.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not very good for picking that, but as far as I'm concerned, I am very excited
I
for
thought
that.
the demo did nothing for me.
You didn't play it. Demo didn't know.
No,
It does.
but
It does.
I watched you doing this.
You can't know.
Stop.
You can't know. You can't know.
But
You can't
I
know.
watched you
Watching
and-
an
I
MMO,
watched
you can't
you
know.
and Nick play it, and it was the same because it was a short demo in a small area. You guys just did the same thing over and over. Now I
But that's
know
kinda what you do
That's
in
what you do
Skyrim,
in
too.
MMOs.
I know.
And
Well,
in
not just
Skyrim.
MMOs,
Yeah, Skyrim.
in Elder
But I know
Scrolls
I
games.
played Skyrim, 300 hours of Skyrim, so I know it'll get better.
And it was
it'll
incredibly
be
boring
quests,
to watch
and-
from a third
and there'll
person's
be
point of view.
dungeons to do, but when I saw you just fighting the crab and fighting this and doing that, and it's like I knew there was more. I was not impressed with the demo because I don't know if you felt that too, but it was just like, boys, it's I know there's more to this, but this demo did nothing for me. I will probably still get it.
Yeah,
and I will probably love it.
I will
Well,
wait.
see,
I would wait.
I have a
to
good
get it.
example. Like, I think there's a moment when I was playing when I was in this desert area and I kept getting attacked by wolves, and I fought one, and then as I killed one, two more showed up, and then they stunned me, and then I killed one, and I killed the other, and then another one showed up, and I can imagine watching that
Was boring as
really
hell.
is boring as hell. But playing it was like, oh, god damn it, it's another wolf. Shit, oh, shit. And yes, I won, finally. And oh, god
Yeah, but
damn it, it's another
you
wolf.
got nowhere. You didn't go to a city. You didn't interact with people and get a quest. You didn't go to a
But
dungeon.
I did.
He did.
I did interact with people. I kind of skipped over the dialogue a little bit, but I did get enough of a sense of a story that you are trying to is almost like kind of an Ocean's 11 thing. Well, like you wanted to recruit people to help you with this like pirate heist or something like that, and that was kind of neat. And I guess I came away from it like you talked about how you felt the MMO pull, and I don't know, it's kind of funny because everything you talked about with the MMO, I really liked it, and some of the things I liked it for are things that I didn't realize MMOs did, and things that I think it did better than other MMOs. Like, the controls were really simple. Instead of having, like, WoW style, a bunch of stuff, on the bottom that you click, it's just, attack with the left mouse, attack with the right mouse. And, yeah, the UI is pretty much empty. There's nothing on your screen, and I like that. And what I didn't realize about MMOs is that there's a first-person view in some MMOs. And he made a point of saying that there's a first-person view in Elder Scrolls, and in the demo they didn't have your arms modeled, but he said that they would. And so with that, you're basically playing, Skyrim, where you have your arms moving in that. And I really enjoyed playing it in a first-person view because it felt more like
Elder Scrolls.
Elder Scrolls, yeah.
It felt more like Skyrim.
It didn't feel like an MMO. And it's weird. I associate MMO with third-person perspective. And it's funny, you saying, oh, yeah, it depends on who's playing and who's not. one of the things I loved about Skyrim is the isolation of it all. So, if like Elder Scrolls comes out and it's dead, but I can play it all in first person,
That's okay.
I'm kind of
You're
cool
okay
with
with
that.
that. All
Yeah,
right.
it's a much bigger world to explore, and isolated exploration, and I really like that.
Yeah.
And so I'm intrigued by it. I'm very much intrigued by it.
So what would your game be?
My game would probably be Transistor,
I can see that.
just because, for as much as I'm excited about Assassin's Creed, part of it is a known quantity. For as much as I think Watch Dogs could blow me away, there's just enough unknown that's like, this could be a wall you're pulling over my eyes, or it
Right.
could not. There's just enough that, I'm
Can
not
they
sure what
pull
to
it
think
off?
about it.
Right,
Yeah, can they
exactly.
pull it
Could
off?
be just enough promise and not enough delivery.
With Transistor, there's enough of a known quantity because I played Bastion and I love Bastion. So I know these guys can make good games. But at the same time, it plays very differently, and I like how it plays. I like the mix of turn-based and real-time combat. But at the same time, it keeps all the stuff that they're good at. It keeps like a really somber tone, great voice acting, intriguing story, beautiful art style. It kept all the things I loved of Bastion while changing just enough to feel like a completely different game. So it's that mix of old and new.
Yeah, I played it a little bit. Kind of, like I say, if it was a side scroller, but not a side scroller. Again, I don't know. It wasn't my cup of tea. I hate to keep saying that.
Yeah, but at the same time, that makes sense. Like, Bastion was definitely my cup of tea, that kind of isometric action game. And, yeah, I love Transistor because it's that mix of old and new and just the right balance to really, really excite me.
All right. I'm trying to. I'm looking over my notes here. Stormtrooper Ray.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite game? Actually, something that you're really looking forward to, because that's what I think. Because this favorite game's kind of a very vague thing. But if you walked out of there today and say, I can't wait to go play at some point.
Most anticipated game.
Even whether the game's out or not.
I don't think I've seen enough to really be able to determine a game that there was nothing that I'm like I can't wait for this game to come out. I would guess the one though that I'm most would probably be Watchdog.
I can see that.
Yeah, I was really interested in it. It's a new a new spin on a game. It's something that I've never seen. It's not your same old game. So I'm interested to see when that one comes out. I'll probably pick that one up, opening day and go from there.
Yeah, that might be my second, if only because the potential is so crazy.
Yeah, it is. There's just so much potential in it.
Goalie?
Actually, I'm making my note right now. What the heck was that? What was the first one we saw? The DLC Dishonored.
Yeah.
Okay. I cannot give you a list of one game. So I'm going to pick off a few that I played that I can't wait to go home and play.
Okay.
Okay, I'm cheating. I don't. That's why I didn't want to do a game of the show because I don't have one.
Okay.
Okay, I will tell you a few that I played. Now again, keep in mind, people, that I just got a decent laptop, so I can play some PC games now. Whereas I probably was very limited to my PC game. In fact, Steam would run sometimes on my last laptop. Okay, it runs beautiful now. I can do all the PC stuff. Okay, not that I'm going to be a PC gaming guy, but it's a new world for me. Okay. Here's a few that I played that, yes, I'm looking forward to going home and playing. The first night we were there, we went and we played me and Edie went to the PC gaming area after hours and played. I played 2 games. One was called Rocket Mania, and I will talk about this a little bit more in depth on the show this week. And another was called Pizza Frenzy. 2 simple, stupid PC puzzle type games that I absolutely loved, and if I find them, I will buy them. So Rocket Mania and Pizza Friendly. Another one on my list that I'm looking forward to play, Guns of Icarus.
Yeah. You know what? That's actually on sale on Steam this weekend
Yes,
for $5.
$5.
I tried to log in this morning, but the goddamn
The internet's
internet here
horrible,
is
yeah.
so
You know,
slow.
we're in Boston. We're really not in a major metropolitan city with internet. So I can see why the internet would be horrible in Boston.
Yeah, out here in the boonies.
Although there's an app for it. Just sign in on the app. Yeah, $5 this weekend.
Yeah.
Guns of Icarus, that is a game. Stormtrooper Ray, I think I showed you that one there, where we you get on the big blimps.
Yeah, that one was very interesting. But I don't play computer games, but I'm going to tell you, after being to this show, I'm intrigued. And I know my laptop has a lot of power because when I had it built, I built it to be able to do things that I don't do. It's got 2 video cards in it, so...
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, and I haven't even tapped into that to utilize that power,
Yeah.
but I'm starting to lean more and more towards some computer games, but I would need to get the console controller, the Xbox style controller from Microsoft.
Well, I mean, I'm the same way. I am going to really give it the college try and try to play it without that.
I've tried, and I just can't
prefer
do
it. I'm gonna give it a try. Okay, and what we actually been doing is we've been using Skype on our phones or our laptops to chat while we play PC games because it's not like Xbox.
Right.
So so look into that because it's kind of fun. Yeah. So Guns of Icarus is one for $5. I'm gonna get it for $5. I'm gonna get it.
I hope it's still available on Tuesday when I get back home.
Yeah, I think I have the app on my phone that I might actually go and buy it right now, so I have it.
Nice.
The other one that we played, another PC game, and we did an indie for was Smash. I can't even say it.
Smash Monk is like Chipmunk.
Chipmunk Champions. Smash Monk Champions. It was a simple little PC game. I think it's actually a free to play. I think I'll have to double check that. That was a lot of fun. In fact, the guys that were doing the game actually approached us and said we had the media badge. We want you to check out our game, and I like that. I don't know about you, but when I get my badge on and someone comes up to me and says, "I want to show you my game." Whereas Outlast, we went over there 4 times, and they blew us off 4 times. So with Smash Monk Champions, they approached us, and they had a fun little game. It really was. I was really like, so that's another one. And then just rounding out my list, Dishonored was one I don't have. We looked at the DLC, and quite honestly, I don't know the difference between the DLC and the actual game, but Dishonored, I am very impressed with.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, just the whole, the gameplay was smooth, the jumping around, there was stealth, there was action, it was, Dishonored, just yes on Dishonored.
Yeah, and that's a single-player game, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that one really pulled me in. It's one that I think I'm going to put on the to-do list.
Yeah.
I'm big into your co-op games, but that one did look good. And I will say, the other one that I'm probably going to be playing tonight was going to be Dead Trigger with the controller.
Because
so
that's
funny.
out, isn't it?
It is, and it's a free game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that controller just has me so impressed.
It does, yeah, it does.
I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah. All right, let me just find out. Edie, I was just saying, I couldn't pick a favorite game so because I'm new to PC gaming. I would just recap my list so far is that Rocket Mania game, the puzzle game we played in the PC room, the Pizza Frenzy game, which is kind of a memory game where you deliver pizza. That was really kind of fun. Guns of Icarus, $5 on Steam. I got to pick that up before that goes off sale. The Smash Muck Champions.
Really?
I enjoyed that.
Really?
I did. I mean, it's not at the top of the list, but that's a PC game for free to play.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. And then rounding things up, Dishonored. I just talked about.
Oh, you missed one. You missed a big one. Sanctum 2.
Oh, yeah.
That's not on my list to rush home and play.
I did not see that one.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, that was the one we
That
saw
was
a couple days ago.
yesterday, yeah. I thought I would like it, but I didn't. My last 2, I'm just going to round it out here real quick. Strike Suit Zero, space game. I actually went over to the Intel area, away from all the games, and Intel had a bunch of computers set up, and Strike Suit Zero was just a fun space adventure game, and that's on Steam, and that was fairly inexpensive. In fact, I stopped by the Kickstarter booth, and they had a 25% off coupon, and I talked to I should have done an interview, but I talked to the guy, and I says, I saw this over there, I'm getting it, and he was all excited. They got their Kickstarter funding for Strike Suit Zero space game, so I'll be getting that. And then the final one, hold on to your hats. Hold on to your hats. I think I'm going to try EVE Online.
Good
Oh,
for you.
Space
yeah, I think
adventure game.
You're gonna hate that.
You're batshit crazy.
Yeah,
Am I-
you're gonna hate.
I'm really gonna
Coley,
hate.
I know the kind of gamer you are. You are gonna fucking hate that. So I think you should go
I'll start with the other
spend.
ones first.
You should go spend a lot of money on Eve Online. I highly recommend that. Right now.
Aw.
Just go out and buy Eve Online T-shirts and hats and briefcases and sports cars.
But you know, while you're just rambling off games, I gotta mention there were two games in particular that I saw here that really, really made me wish I had a smartphone. One was the Dead Trigger, which we saw with the Moga controller. That, like, with the Moga controller, that was really, really fun. It was like a kind of simplified version of the Call of Duty Zombies.
And it's free.
Yeah,
On top
and
of
it's
it,
free.
Crazy.
Yeah, and that was really nice.
I know.
In addition, I really, really loved Nun Attack, and that's free too.
You know, and I'm really sorry that because my Bucker Chuck, I don't know if we went over our Bucker Chucks, my buck this year, which I did not mention, I did not do an interview with, simply because I was going to spend it on being a Bucker Chuck, was...
Nun Attack?
No, a Combo Crew.
Oh,
That it's a very small game, French developer. Combo Crew, it is due out soon, and it is same kind of thing, a beat 'em up. But it is in very small doses, and it is so neat. I think you'll actually like it.
well,
And it's
I
going to
mean,
be like $1.99. So
Yeah.
it was a Bucker Chuck. But Combo Crew, it was definitely my pick for
well, I
my
mean,
Bucker
I got to
Chucks.
play Nun Attack, and
And
I
you
actually
like Non Attack, you will love Combo Crew.
I actually went back to the booth like twice, once on Saturday, once on Sunday, to play a bunch of it.
I'm really sorry now that I didn't have you find Combo Crew because it was better. It was better.
Really?
It did the same thing.
See, I find that
but
hard
better.
to believe because what I liked about the nuns is that, I mean, there's kind of a real wry sense of humor there, just with nuns and guns. But at the same time, it was kind of there's just enough depth there to really keep me interested and hooked. Like the way that each nun would kind of level up the more you use her, and that you had guns that leveled up, and you could kind of do miracles as quote unquote God, or each nun had their own ability. Like it was a lot of fun, and it felt like the kind of game. It was definitely the kind of game that could only be played on a touchscreen because there's a whole lot of swiping involved, and anyone that watches would like see you just waggling your finger all across the screen like crazy. But there's a method to that madness of waggling, and I like that. I like that it's the kind of game where my finger's flying across the screen a whole bunch, but there's actually a purpose to all of that waggling.
Nice.
Yeah.
Ray, you mentioned Dead Trigger.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. That controller was just a game changer.
It really
It
is.
really is,
And I had said to him that it was it's tough to use a cliche like game changer, especially when you're doing an interview. But it truly does change games. The games go from being casual games on the iOS and on Android, on touchscreen tablets. It goes from being casual games that they try to figure out a way to make it attractive to more people on short commutes and as a portable device, and turns it into, hey, you can play hardcore games on this, and you can do it on the subway, on the fly.
That was actually a good catch with that, Ray. That in '82, that Moga game controller, wow, especially the Pro. And
the price is not bad.
It's the price of an Xbox controller.
Yeah.
And for sitting in doctors' offices or on planes or wherever to pull out and play a good game.
If that will work with the game emulators for the systems, Nintendo game.
Yeah, I don't know.
There are game emulators, and it turns your smartphone into said device. The PS1, Game Boy,
Right.
all the old Nintendos. You can play any of the old Nintendo games, Nintendo 64, and then you go into the emulator, and it's like putting in your cartridge for your game. You select the ROM that you want for what game you want to play, and you actually play that game on the screen. And the first time I started using those was with my original Droid when it first came out. The slide-out keyboard had a slip-on. Someone made a slip-on rubber keyboard that had like the directional pad and the buttons, and when you pressed them, they pressed like the keyboard buttons underneath, so it was like using a controller.
If I had to venture a guess, I would say that would not be the case, and only because he kind of specifically said you need to be. The game has to have that kind of software installed.
Right.
And he didn't say, all the time that it needed to be installed. But I mean, because he said there was, approved games, and then people that had used their technology and put it in without their approval, that it still might run. So I'm going to guess no. I don't want you to be disappointed if it doesn't work. I'm going to
Actually, no, that it actually allowed you to do the mapping of it.
They did
That's
mention
the
that.
deal.
Yeah, but I thought he did say that if we invented a game and had their guidelines, and we put it in so their controller would work on that
No,
game.
it's that if they use the SDK, if they use the SDK that they provided and it was all preset, then you could put it on A, switch A. But if it was somebody that didn't use their SDK and they switched it over to B, you could do all the hard work of mapping.
Okay, well,
so
maybe,
you could use it,
okay,
but you'd have to do the hard work of mapping the buttons.
Okay.
The
just
one
think-
thing that I'm worried about with the Moog controller is that it's not the only Android-based controller. There's also the NVIDIA Shield that they were showing off here, and we got shirts for
I
it.
did see that, yes.
But we didn't actually see that. And then you've got the Ouya, which is a console-based thing with its own controller.
Yep.
And the guy from Moog was actually saying that if a game is designed with the Ouya controller, it might not work with the Moog controller system.
Right.
So you've got these multiple controllers coming out for Android, and each of them is kind of their own thing. And I would love it if there's if all three of those groups could come to some
Universal.
universal standard, so
Never
that you could
happened.
just plug in any of their
Yeah.
controllers and use it.
Yeah.
Never happen.
Because otherwise it'll be like a bloodbath where
That's
it's
how
like
it is always.
yeah, but
Hello, DVD Blu-rays or DVD HD Blu-ray.
I just want
Somebody's
everyone.
gotta lose.
I just want everyone to live in peace, man.
No, it's not going to happen. That doesn't happen. We have a mention in the chat room that AC Wraith says he's having a hard time still getting the Steam group. I know it's there, and I will put a reach out to
Should you put
our.
up a friend request on us, and then we can get them in individually? I don't know how Steam works.
Right. No. What will happen? The person who set it up, which was our community manager, Pissboy. I'll have Pissboy send out a find out why exactly it's not showing up.
Yeah, I just
in
got
the
an
Steam.
invite to it. That's the only reason I found it.
Okay. Then.
Or maybe put it on our Facebook page or Twitter or something.
yeah.
I don't know how all that works.
Yeah. So anyway, we're running at about an hour and a half. So anything else we want to add about this year? I want to send a huge shout out, and I hope that someone out there at Spreaker is listening. Spreaker, you made, after many years of doing PAX, both PAX Prime and PAX East, that has been an exhausting affair. For the first year, I am not thoroughly cooked because Spreaker.
And we got a lot more done.
Oh, we got a lot more done, and we had more time for actually play. And it was actually really nice being in contact with some of you guys that are listening, the listeners, to be able to ask questions. I mean, how awesome was that we could ask questions to the creative director of Elder Scrolls Online
And that's
immediately.
what we designed this for. It was for live shows and the whole thing.
Thank you.
I can take it?
Yes, if you can take it all. Thank you.
But yeah, that's what they did it for. And they even talked about sports, which I use it for too with my other account. But but can I get at least a big high five for being the one that researched and discovered Spreaker?
Yes, and Goalie, you definitely Spreaker is awesome.
Little tiny
You
bit.
you get a huge high five. If I could raise my right arm right now, I would give you a high five.
Use your left hand.
There we go. High five on the left hand.
But this has been a lot of fun, from the show we're doing now to on the floor to Kowloon's to wherever. The Spreaker community's fun to work with. The chat. I mean, yes, everything about Spreaker is fantastic.
Yeah, and so huge shout out to the Spreaker folks. Thank you for making such a fan-freaking-tastic website and app. It works great. And on top of it, everybody on the floor that we actually showed it to was very impressed by it.
They were floored.
That we could do that.
We're live.
And we could do this for free. Well, we paid for it, but
It's a monthly
you
fee.
can do it
Yeah.
for free, and
Yeah.
that's crazy. So just thank you for making such a great app.
Myself, I just did a fun time with you guys and Stormtrooper Ray.
Absolutely. Ray, thank you for being here. It's always fun to have.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
Well, there's something about bringing we call it Burning Man, we call them virgins. It's so awesome to bring a virgin to PAX for that moment, because when I could say, okay, prepare yourself, and that moment when you walk out, and we get to relive that moment every single time. That like
you see for the first
when you
time.
see it in somebody else's
It was
face.
just funny at Kowloon's last night. It was just like all of a sudden you're like, Ray, you need to come tomorrow. And I'm like, Ray will never come. You're wasting your time. And all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I'll text you in the morning. And then how ironic is that he's the guy, at least with my Dead Island game, that we finished it with. Because it was you guys that all finished it or come close. It was me that said, I need to, get through this game and finish it no matter what. And it was all of us that did it together. We laughed, we cried, but we finished Dead Island. How funny was the first or second interview we did, you were there for Dead Island Riptide.
Yep.
And we got a hands-on play and the whole bit. So it was really cool having you here because you were there in the trenches in Dead Island with us.
And that was one of the first games I think we started playing together online, Dave.
Yeah.
You jumped in. Actually, it was the Left 4 Dead we started playing, and then.
But it was
Dead
like you
Island.
and Lou and all those guys and driving in the truck with all the same character.
that was
so
hysterical.
Many fun moments. And then you using the beach ball on other people.
Yeah.
That thing just never got old. That you had to bite your tongue.
Oh yes, it did. It did get old, but we did it anyway.
Now it's funny because you use that beach ball, and so many people have fallen for that. We were actually, I forget who it was, and it may have been you, Dave. We were in Borderlands 2 in the part where you climb into the car crusher and you crush the person, and you actually get an achievement for that.
And people didn't believe us.
People were like, I ain't getting in there. I'm like, no, really? I go, actually, I haven't gotten it yet, so I'd climb in. I go, crush me. And they're like, all right.
Yeah, and they're like, yeah, no, I remember you with the damn beach ball.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, go stand there.
So when you get a crazy achievement like that, they're not ready to do it.
Now we're ready for the next big crazy achievement.
Yeah. Well, for me, I guess I'm somewhat a virgin because I would always pop in and out around my work schedule, and I never stayed in with you guys, so I never got to enjoy anything beyond the show floor. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was fun to go back. And the press hour was great afterwards on Saturday. That was fantastic.
Yeah, thank you so much to the PAX.
Friday or Saturday?
It was Friday night. Yeah, and thank you so much for the PAX East group for actually having that evening for the press and developers.
That was great.
I know it sounds like a little bit Leah saying the press saying thanks for our special time, but it really does make a huge difference.
We got to talk to some select people that stayed open late. So that was fun.
Right, and let them have the option of whether they want it. By the way, Jason Webb says that I hope you just didn't high-five Nick's fun hand. No, I don't touch his fun hand because I know where it's been.
No, actually, he didn't high-five my fun hand.
I don't know which one it is, so I'm going to...
you. I thought you were talking about me.
I'm going to say no.
Fun hand.
No, fun hand's the left, we high-five the right.
Okay.
I'll high-five the left if you want.
I haven't had that much champagne yet. But yeah, so for me, I guess I'm somewhat a virgin too, that I got to enjoy I didn't go in after work and then leave when it ended. I got to hang out, I got to spend the night, I got to go back at 1 in the morning and play PC games with you.
PAX really is mostly about after hours.
I was so tired Saturday night after Kowloon that I wanted to go back and do more. We did a little Steel Battalion, but I hit the wall about 12:30. But it still was fun after hours. And I wish they had something tonight because I would have done a little bit more tonight after hours. But they shut down. They have a hard shutdown at 6 o'clock tonight.
Yeah. Yep. Speaking of hitting the wall, I think we were pretty much hitting the wall of this podcast. So this is the wrap-up show for the PAX 2013, PAX East in Boston. Thank you all for so much for being part of the PAX East Gamehounds community as far as Spreaker. Thank you for all of you who joined all of the chat rooms and asked questions and interacted with us.
We're going to be doing more with the Spreaker. This is not just a PAX East thing. I anticipate us in between shows maybe having small segments here and there.
Right, absolutely.
I really do.
Absolutely, after hours kind of stuff.
Depending what happens, I mean, maybe we grab people for interviews. Maybe there's a big release, a midnight release we go to. I know you guys got things on the West Coast. Maybe there's something that happens to me during the week that I have to tell you before the show, whether it's good or bad. I mean, the Spreaker really opens up the door for a lot more audio coming from the game house.
Yeah, it certainly does. So thanks so much for listening, and we will talk to you soon. But remember that we will be doing something very similar to this for PAX Prime. At least that's what we anticipate, which is going to be in September. So don't lose this address for Spreaker. We're going to be using it again. Thanks so much, guys. Have a good year. And now I have to figure out how to stop this because it's been on so long, I forgot.